The last few months, I've seen the world in black and white. I consume, I engage, I scroll. I scroll so far and for so long. I watch, and I laugh, and I cry. It's gross, right? I want more out of life than this. But this is what I've been reduced to. My brain, so perfectly stimulated, and I, so perfectly complacent. Man, fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? This is content. We all love content. On the internet, we simply cannot repress our masochistic urge to sedate our minds with the most overstimulating Cocomelian horrors the world may ever see. I've been gone for a minute, but I'm back on my bullshit. 12 videos, 12 months, let's see how I do. Don't look at the upload date. Next time I see this piece of purple slime being ripped in half over top of an obscure film from the mid-2010s, I'm taking it and I'm cutting it with fentanyl. Content is not all bad. Right? Sometimes it leads to beautiful and thought-provoking experiences. Sometimes I'm moved in the most viscerally human way as I gaze upon a creation designed for me by someone else in the oldest and most divine tradition since the dawn of time. I'm referring to Instagram Reels. Wow, this is so cool. Hey, why do you think Maddie Healy likes this? I love content so much. Like, so much. In fact, the Apple Corporation graciously provides me with data on just how much I do, so I can visualize just how much of my life is slowly escaping my delicate feminine grasp. By the way, they do lie. Did you know they can lie? Tim, what if I kill my phone? What would you say then? Kinda deserves it, honestly. This thing causes me like a lot of pain. Much like the people around me who I care for most, if you love me unconditionally, I will unconsciously resent you until you leave me. It's kind of my move. Unfortunately, content is a problem, and it's that there are rules now.
I kind of feel like we are officially at an era on YouTube where it's like basically a professional form of media. So much so that there's like ethics in YouTube content creation now.
I hate to say it, but Hassan Piker is right. Let's get started, shall we? Ethics and content. You all seem to be really into that recently. Ethics and content are two things that don't really go together, like church and state, or your mother and father. Ethics and content is like when you try to get your academic friend group to link up with your substance abuse friend group. It just doesn't work. Morality is not one of those things these mediums are typically good at getting across in a genuine way, so when they do, it's a rare and fascinating occasion. Which is why today I want to examine that, because I've been through it. This is light work to me. I solve your societal problems for fun. You think I need this? What does it mean to do content ethically? It has to be possible, right? It has to be possible, right? I don't care if it's ethical or not. You'll still watch me. You're a freak. I'm here to argue that content is in fact a vice. It's one of my many vices. Look, someone around here has to tell you the things you don't want to hear, like Instagram isn't a replacement for activism, or AJR is the David Byrne of our generation. Fuck you. If you think about it for like 2 seconds, it actually makes like a weird amount of sense. From a tale of drama-induced psychosis to the attention economy's latest passenger princess, from Joe Biden's latest war crime to the savior of the working class himself, Mr. Beast. No one's hands are clean here. Especially not you, Jimmy. Don't you know? Go woke, go broke. In 2023, professional gamer and soy boy Harry Brewis, pictured here before the incident, released a 4-hour-long content called Plagiarism and You, Tube, in which he flamboyantly accuses many prominent content creators of plagiarism. He then proceeds to provide mountains of evidence as to their crimes. This content released in early December of last year, when I was in the midst of pretending to work on this video, and actually in the throes of evil, refusing to, and I quote, negotiate with the algo fetishist. Patreon.com/Mia Cole, I guess?
You would never in a million years do a video like this about TikTok in general. Like, everyone would laugh at you. It is a mature medium now. It's official. It is officially a mature ass medium.
This is, unfortunately, aptly stated. We've gotten to the point now in the life cycle of internet culture that we're starting to develop rules and standards of practice for developing online media, which sounds like a really cool thing until you remember that online media is garbage.
I got a Glock in my Rari.
And I'm not helping.
17 shots, no 38.
You think making avant-garde YouTube videos is gonna solve the problem? Since when have video essays ever provided anything to society? Capitalism still reigns, the prison system is still messed up, and Tommy Tallarico is still alive. So it's worth asking, Why do we build the wall? Henry exposes one of my former favorite YouTube contents of all time called Man in Cave. It's long. It's a video about Floyd Collins and how he died cold, alone, and wet in a cave surrounded by nothing but the cruel, unforgiving terrain of the earth. I should call her. And that's the whole thing. 70 minutes of agony. Also known as a Mia Cole YouTube video. It's good content. Too bad he stole the whole script. And that's not right. You can't be doing that. Harrison also talks about a woman who calls herself Illuminati for stealing other people's work for her videos. Which, like, guys, she didn't come up with that name. That's already a thing. You think people would have realized she had an affinity for stealing things like way earlier on. But here's the thing. This is a 4-hour-long YouTube video, and for like 80% of it, all he's doing is showing examples of plagiarism with minimal editing. I've been poking fun a little bit, but I genuinely love Harley's content. I eat that shit up. But this 4-hour-long content got 15 million views, and everyone was like pissed. This kind of shocked me a little bit, because I didn't think you people care what you consume. I've been on YouTube Shorts, I see what kind of trash you like, but this kind of made me hope. Maybe there really is a place for the people who put their heart and soul into the things they create. Maybe this is the ethics of content. Ooh, that's the title. We will spend nearly a third of our lives staring at a phone. That's a third of our lives we won't ever get back. A third of our lives we won't spend with friends or family. A third of our lives we won't learn something new, or see the beauty of the world, or feel the emotions we're supposed to feel. A third of our lives we won't remember. In 1985, Neil Postman wrote a book. Amusing Ourselves to Death is a book about the media we consume and the mediums we consume it through. In it, Postman remarks how the introduction of the TV into American homes has changed the landscape of discourse forever, which seems applicable to something else. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I read the 20th anniversary edition, which comes with a new foreword written by his son because he died. Did I mention he died? In it, Andrew Postman spends about 9 pages desperately trying to convince you that the book is still relevant to our modern lives of 2006 because the book is like 40 years old.
Multitasking is standard. Communities have been replaced by demographics. Silence has been replaced by background noise. It's a different world.
That sounds familiar. Okay, I've been kind of burying the lead on this one, so if you'll excuse me, I gotta go explain your problem now. God is not an iPhone. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, I have found recently that to my shock and horror, I've become addicted to my phone. I know this will sound crazy to you if you've seen, I don't know, any of my other videos. Banner, trash, garbage. This one is the best one, but it didn't get any views, which means it's also trash. My self-worth is tied to internet points because I'm just a girl. But of course, I'm not alone in this. Everyone's addicted to their phone. You are too. Look at yourself. You should be embarrassed. I recently realized you can kind of blame your phone for all of your problems in life. Boyfriend broke up with you because you're toxic and manipulative. It's that damn phone. It's that damn phone. The world is so beautiful. Nature is full of boundless energy. The trees gossip with each other in the wind. The water tells stories from millennia ago. All you have to do is listen. You see, outside is full of wonder and joy, tied together in a rich tapestry of history. I think anyway. I don't know. I don't go out there. In Postman's book, he argues we're in the midst of a cultural shift, one that our culture has gone through before, but rather the novelty now is in the nuance of the new medium.
As topography moves to the periphery of our culture and television takes its place at the center, the seriousness, clarity, and above all value of public discourse dangerously declines. On what benefits may come from other directions, one must keep an open mind.
He goes to great lengths to explain that the medium for our discourse determines how we have that conversation, like a fucked up Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. He talks a lot about epistemology and also how the news pollutes your mind. No, really, this guy ferociously hated TV news. What's weird to think about is the book doesn't even pause for a moment to discuss television addiction. For all of his visions of the future and the persistent problems he diagnoses with our newfound lover, he doesn't really stop to consider the possibility that the real threat was not only our cognitive decline from constant stimulation, but rather our total and complete addiction to the new medium. Why do we build the wall? Because we're fucking filthy at it. In an age of fast-moving culture created by content which we ingest by force or sleight of hand from multinational tech companies which only exist for the sole purpose of selling space and our brains to other massive corporations, perhaps the most revolutionary thing we can do is bite the hand that feeds us. Could be fun. But if no one's brave enough to say it, I guess I will. Sometimes the internet is not always good. What Postman was referring to in his book in regards to television is obviously very applicable to our modern age. We spend mountains of time wasting away for a lover that will never love us back. Staying up all night worshiping to a god that isn't in there. It's not called insomnia, it's called wasted potential. I wish I had that shit. I would get so much done. Look, none of us are escaping the internet by any stretch of the imagination. Hell, it's my job to know what's going on here and do trend analysis or whatever. For example, can we agree we need to collectively stop the podcast epidemic? What's up with that? Why are we doing that? The thought of starting a podcast is just a sinful thought. You just shouldn't have that thought. I have to keep my eye on every single internet community, from Adam22 and the No Jumper Cinematic Universe all the way to the Dream SMP. From the Rent Riveras of the world to Sexy Red, I know everybody. Did you like that? Do you like when I name drop? Do you guys know Crit Mac is in jail? Free Crit Mac. I am stuck here, but I still have faith. I still believe I can escape the addictive cycle of content, even though it calls to me in the back of my head. I just hear it over and over again. And I open my phone and I go right back. Again and again, the cycle continues. And I scroll so far and for so long. I watch and I watch and I laugh and I cry. It's gross, right? Girls, we are living in evil times. What is going on here? I think I may have gotten on a god's bad side. I think being the universe's passenger princess the last few years has left me ill-prepared to tackle the unsedated mind. I have been gone for a little while and have come to the conclusion that I simply must be working 24/7, lest I rediscover free will and further combust. I rediscovered free will and further combusted. It's weird to think that was only mid-December. Shit got way worse. Part 2, there are a bunch of fucking bulls running at you. It's really fucked up that I have to do this in Baines. There is no hope. This is how the world works. Content reigns supreme and your life is doomed to be wasted away inside of a box. If you're watching me in a second window right now, you're both proving my point and committing a sin. But don't be down, not doom nor gloom. Instead, think about the infinite possibilities this could bring you. Think about all the entertainment there is to be had. This is an exciting prospect. You could literally amuse yourself to death. At least, you die laughing.
I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm addicted to gambling. Oh, it's ruined my life. Oh, my daughter's college fund is gone. Shut the fuck up. I've been gambling every day for the past 20 years. It's all I think about. And I'm still not addicted. How the hell are you addicted?
I know, it's good, right? You wanna do a bump? I've revisited Instagram Reels and have decided that it's all connected. It's never been more connected than it is right now. I believe in the universe because I know what the universe believes, and what the universe believes is that I am the best girl. Also, it's really funny when—
One thing very clear. I don't avoid conflict because I'm scared of you. I avoid conflict because I'm scared of myself.
God, can't you just feel it? It's like a loving embrace, a warm sensation pulsing through your body. God, I miss her. Need to delete this, LMAO.
Rest in peace, Pop Smoke.
Rest in peace, who?
Pop Smoke.
Tell me that doesn't make you feel something for the first time in months. Screw hope. Who needs hope? Content will kill you slowly. Indulge now, let the machine take you away. It's fun, try it. Last one not to get addicted to short form content wins. Hey, where'd everybody go? Social media isn't a vice. It's a logical extension of your avoidant attachment style. You silly maladaptive fuck. It's a Friday night. You should be out drinking 3 Plan Bs and a twisted tea, not watching this shit. But since you are, you might want to consider heading over to patreon.com/vehicle, where you can watch tons of exclusive videos that are only on Patreon and nowhere else. Ooh, look at all that content. Ooh, you want it so bad. You want it so bad. Think about it as repenting for that sexist joke you made in 10th grade. I know what you said. I think it was disgusting. But it's okay, all will be forgiven when you go to patreon.com/Miyacole and sign up to one of the, if you give me a bunch of money. Make giving women money online cool again. Instagram Reels is the only place I can have the simultaneous experience of a deep depression and also a visceral horror.
You gotta see this. They actually added you in Fortnite and made you really buff. What? Well, I think this calls for a song, Brian. We got a #1 victory, bro, yeah!
If the greatest minds of our generation fell victim to the machine, then perhaps they were never really the greatest minds. I looked at the machine and saw opportunity. They looked at the machine and they saw an immovable object. It's clearer who's smarter than who. That's crazy because I mean I've noticed a few things and I'm gonna tell you about them. A lot of time has passed since we last left off with the Instagram machine. Number 1, AI is back and being used for bigger and better things. In this pivotal clip, MatPat, rest in peace, goes to 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, bitch. God damn, let me go up in this see what the going on. What in the is this motherfucking bag? Oh my god, motherfucking Newports.
Do you think if the creator of ChatGPT saw this, he would, I don't know, end it all?
Newports. I'll be the richest man in the hood. Give me this goddamn motherfucking bag. I'm hauling ass, bitch! I'm hauling ass!
The world we live in right now is a beautiful and magical place. Number 2, white people finally developed our own words separate from AAVE. Diversity win, right? Wrong.
Edging goated.
Edging is goated.
Yes.
He's giving sus Ohio NPC vibes. Save your Riz for Baby Gronk and Livy Dunn, please.
I certainly will.
I forgot, we live in hell. Number 3, the redacted family is an Instagram account, and also maybe even a real family unit. The ethics of family content is a bit dubious, so I don't want to show the @ I know they have millions of views and they're easily findable, but okay, believe it or not, I do in fact have somewhat of a moral compass. They're a content conglomerate and also maybe even related to each other. Doesn't matter to me, I'm here for content. Let's take a look now.
Name something that dogs do.
Like you.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Name a famous captain.
Captain Hook.
Man, Lauren is destroying Taylor right now.
Name a place people go on a hot summer day to cool off.
Florida.
Hey, is Taylor okay?
Name a sport that does not use a ball.
Swimming.
Has she blinked?
Name a word that rhymes with nice.
Rice. Rice. Taylor knows.
What is going on? This is a classic TikTok formula, producing hit after hit. The views are up, the followers are plentiful, and the brands are biting. That's all that matters in the world. But a peek into the comment section tells me people don't give a shit what matters. It's all, is she okay? Does she need help? Taylor, blink twice if you need help. I couldn't believe it. It's like people care about their fellow human beings. Like, guys, of course they're okay. Have you seen the like count? They're gods. Never back down from the high. If something works, beat it into the ground. You're not a human, you're a commodity, and your value ebbs and flows with the market. This is so sick. It's not exploiting your children for content or whatever. It's called using the resources available to you. You're not evil, you're resourceful. I'm gonna have kids just so I can be the best influencer manager of all time. Day in the life of an influencer mom. Get ready with me while I negotiate my child's contract with NordVPN. I was so down with this. That was until I saw this. Taylor merch dropping soon. Taylor merch dropping soon? That's your child. You just put your kid's face on a t-shirt? For $35? I guess that's what you're supposed to do. There's a coffee shop in Greenwich Village which serves overpriced coffee. Naturally, because it's Greenwich. As I sat there enjoying my beverage, a painting caught my eye. It's by Chris Marmere. It's called I Will Fear No Evil. The name is derived from Psalm 23:4. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. I'm not a Bible girly, so I don't really know what that means, but it sounds really cool. Look at those bowls. I think they're coming for me. Girls, we are living in evil times. The internet incentivizes content creators to make sludge for the sake of profit. This is good, actually. The inherent incentive in making and distributing content is attention. Attention is really valuable. Attention is a currency, not only as a tool for advertising, but also as a tool for happiness. Profit makes you happy, attention makes you happy. There really is no downside in attempting to captivate the world. Unwavering hedonism is the approach you must take, as it maximizes the amount of joy you will feel in this world. And as we all know, the pursuit of joy is a purely fruitful venture, if you know what you're doing. God can't save you now, we're finally having some fun. Content is a sedative. Think about our old friend Instagram Reels.
My impression of Jennifer Coolidge as a villager in the next Minecraft movie.
All of these pieces of content have one thing in common, and it's that They know how to captivate you. They remove you from the real world and transport your mind into that liminal state, enjoying a constant flow of stimulation. In previous, less optimized society, this flow state was reserved for cinema or performances. It's similar to the suspension of disbelief. But now, and not to sound like a fucking commie or whatever, but thanks to capitalism and the Zuckerbergs of the world, we've learned how to fast track that ability. It no longer requires the monotony of creativity and especially, God forbid, artistic merit. Why waste time on that when you could produce 100 million times more for zero overhead and make millions of more dollars in ad revenue than you could ever fucking imagine? Do you get it now? Do you understand? Did you see the Mario movie? It was cool and all, it was fun, it was fine. Very Martin Scorsese theme park, but I would have liked it more if it was a movie about Mario having CPTSD from being controlled all of his life. Like someone needs their pipes fixed and they call him and he's like, what's up? And they're like, what, can you fix my pipes? And they're like very polite about it, but he just snaps and he's like, don't tell me what to do, bitch. Like anytime he's enjoying time with his wife, his trauma gets triggered from all those times she was stolen and he's like starting to have war flashbacks. Peach is holding him like, it's okay, I'm here for you. It's okay. And Mario's just like completely gone, like in the midst of yet another mental spiral and he has to like learn how to adjust to his new life. That would be funny, I think. In Amusing Ourselves to Death, Postman argues that television is at its most evil when it attempts to make art out of a medium that was designed for filth. And of course, he's right. Art inhibits the cycle. It might make you think. It might bring you out of your sedated state. And we wouldn't want that. How would we make our money? What these critics clearly don't understand is that television attempting to elevate its trash to art is bad. Artistic merit within this medium is wrong and evil because it's not conducive to the medium. And furthermore, it denigrates the existence of our best television, like Love Island, or Love Island Australia, or Love Island Spain, or, and this is crucial, Love Island South Africa. It would risk damaging the machine. It would cease to be a sedative. And we wouldn't want that, would we? Short form content is great because it saves us from having to confront this terrifying reality. Have you ever sat down without your phone and just thought for a second? It sucks. So believe it or not, despite the everything about me, I actually do have straight edge friends. Straight edge, of course, being a subculture within the hardcore scene. These people that don't drink or do drugs, and that's like their whole thing. And one thing one of my straight edge friends told me was that abstaining from those kinds of activities is actually really easy, and in the midst of a bit of a depression.
In lieu of drugs or alcohol, TikTok is in fact a solid substitute.
It's like he doesn't even watch my videos. Banner, trash, garbage. But you know what? I get it. I get it if you're tired of the daily cycle. I get it if you're tired of the algorithms. I understand if you're ready to break free from the monotonous culture vulture carousel ride that is social media. Which leads me to something I've been wanting to say for a while. Okay, the act of creating short form content is inherently unethical, and here's why. Shut up and look me in the eyes. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this, I promise. So I know I'm not one to talk. I've whored myself out for the machine before. But you wanted hot takes, right? Well, let's go. I've talked before about my stint on TikTok. We all know the story. Girl posts a video, it instantly blows up, she gets addicted to the attention and soullessly grinds for months before quitting and making a 70-minute long think piece tribe about it. I want you to know that I'm guilty of playing the game too, because I get it. Like I really get it. The worst thing I ever did was unknowingly making a TikTok sound for cosplayers. I feel just like JoJo when he had that bizarre adventure. Did you spot it? I don't know if you noticed, but I name dropped an anime. So what do I mean when I say short form content is unethical? Well, obviously I don't mean all short videos, right? The content of any particular video is so broad. Remember Vine? That wasn't unethical, was it? We all loved it when the road work was ahead or when the two bros were chilling in the hot tub non-gaily. Things are different now though, and short form content has morphed into this new thing that's only designed specifically to grab attention and make money. You know why Vine worked? Because it didn't. It went out of business because it never made any money. Like at all. The only incentive to post on Vine was to have fun, and also if you were just like a little bit sexist. Obviously some short form is definitely worse than others. I think this is where we need to make the distinction between passive and active content. This is something that would only exist today because just a few years ago this would sound fucking dystopian. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but it's gotten way more widespread and I'm sure you've seen it. The act of making content is fun now. People do it with their friends for fun. I know it sounds a little dystopian, but just look how happy they are. They're so happy. This is fine. I'm not trying to kill fun. Like, you have fun with your friends. It's not a big deal. It's just, crazy to me. But when creating short form starts to become an active pursuit and it's something you're doing and like pursuing as a job, it starts to feel a little bit more slimy. Like your job aids people in not seeing the world around them. It helps them sedate their minds further and further into the void, something many people have reported not enjoying. But I don't think it has to be. I think creating short form can be done right. There's an Instagram account I love called We Love You. It's just two guys making videos about the beauty and wonder of the world. The only problem is the delivery method. Their videos invoke a strange feeling. It's beauty captured in a format not conducive to beauty. I think so many people are drawn to it because the act of watching it makes you aware of what you're doing. In their earlier work, it used to be a little bit more explicit, but now that feeling has turned implicit. It's not said, but I can feel it. What am I doing here? Why am I giving my time to this format? How much time has passed? What have I done? The platform is the problem, not the creators. But if the content you produce for the platform seeks to draw viewers in rather than push them away, I think that's wrong. And so you might be thinking, okay, I get it, that's great. What about long form then? What about you? And to that, I'd say, shut the fuck up. So we destroyed the medium of short form. We harvested any and all creative expression or passion. We shoved it in with the rest of the garbage, and now we're so very numb to everything we consume. I've talked before about the terrifying feeling of content engulfing your mind, unconsciously scrolling until you wake from your sleep state. I'd liken it to a cloudy, sleepless existence. At this point in my analysis, I was feeling pretty hopeless. I mean, all of this is a really convoluted way of saying I'm black-pilled, right? Morality online is such a tricky thing because these mediums incentivize bad behavior for profit, corruption of your morals for clout. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that we indulge in every day. One that starts when you wake up in the morning and instantly start scrolling, and one that ends when you put on a YouTube video or some music while you fall asleep. Content will kill you. Indulge now. Let the machine take you away. You could literally amuse yourself to death. At least you die laughing. Still though, I'm inclined to want to prevail. We live in such an absurd world, it's genuinely comical. I'm the kind of person to laugh in the face of objects put in my way because I know it's just the universe messing with me. It's all just a sick joke. If you can't appreciate the absurdity, doomerism is the logical outcome. And I'm not into doomerism. Reality is just too cool. It's absurd. In the end to the foreword of the book, Andrew tells a story about his father. In 1986, soon after the book was published and had started to make ripples, Dad was on ABC's Nightline, discussing with Ted Koppel the effect TV can have on society if we let it control us, rather than vice versa. As I recall at one juncture, to illustrate his point that our brief attention span and our appetite for feel-good content can short-circuit any meaningful discourse, Dad said, "For example, Ted, we're having an important discussion about the culture. But in 30 seconds, we'll have to break for a commercial to sell cars or toothpaste." Mr. Koppel, one of the rare serious figures on network television, smiled wearily. Or was it fatigue? "Actually, Dr. Postman," he said, "it's more like 10 seconds. There's still time." You want to talk about Mr. Beast now? Part 3, you want to talk about Mr. Beast like so bad? You're kind of like obsessed with the guy, honestly. It's weird. Have you ever considered this is weird? Mr. Beast is less of like a person and more of an idea. My grandfather asked me about Mr. Beast the other day. That's where we're at. I've been thinking a lot about how near to death I am because I just turned 19 and find myself halfway to hell. Can't imagine how you feel. I know non-binary people don't owe me androgyny, but a lot of them give it to me anyway. What's up with that? So two things can be true at once. The world can be on fire and moving in an ever-increasing direction of polarization, and also we can find joy in the absurdity of a planet that's on fire, but actually is mostly water if you think about it. Kind of weird how that works. You can do both. What's it called when you can do both? Alcoholism. You should be drinking alcohol. That's, I think, what this video is about. In 2016, I was in a Mr. Beast video, a fact I will mention like a lot. This caused Jimmy to show his feet on camera. You're welcome. A lot of people say Mr. Beast content is unethical because it exploits the socioeconomic reality of a failing capitalist system that perpetually attempts to quiet its critics with bandage solutions from billionaire philanthropy rather than provide any meaningful change to the lives of the citizens who are stuck feeding the machine that runs the system. Those people are of course wrong because that doesn't account for how sick it was when he put a train in a hole.
Oh my God!
That was so cool. I love it when the train goes in the hole and then it goes boom, 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 boom. I don't really think the problem is Mr. Beast. I think he's just merely a symptom that's awesome. You know, to a lot of people, Mr. Beast is actually the leading source of trans representation. Have fun with that one, liberals. I think the arguments some make about his videos being charity content fall flat to a lot of normal people who aren't online because he still objectively did a good thing. People who didn't have clean water or didn't have food or needed more money now have it because of him. I'm willing to hear those arguments out because I have a very cynical view of the world, and when I hear guy everybody loves is actually bad, I'm like, yeah, that tracks. But girls, you know me. I've talked in previous videos about my complicated love for Jimmy Beast. Boehner, awful, terrible, gross. This isn't like a bit I do. I genuinely like the guy. But in 1972, a philosopher by the name of Peter Singer, I know, just stay with me, released a foundational paper on ethics and morality. Okay, I'm not gonna make you read it. But in it, Peter argues essentially that we're all evil people. But also he's like so cunty, I love him.
I begin with the assumption that suffering and death from lack of food, shelter, and medical care are bad. I shall not argue for this view. People can hold all sorts of eccentric positions, and perhaps from some of them, it would not follow that death by starvation is in itself bad. Those who disagree need read no further.
He's so good. Singer is a controversial figure within philosophy. He's currently a professor at Princeton, and because modernity is an interconnected web of woe, you can tweet at him on twitter.com. I love when public figures are easily accessible and at my fingertips at all times. I love it when I make a video about Twitter and then mysteriously a few days later I get banned from Twitter. That's normal, I think. You can't keep me down though, I'm back, baby. I'm gonna release the most Boehner first tweet of all time right now. For the purposes of this video, we need only take 3 things from this paper. Number 1, Singer argues that it's our moral duty to prevent as much suffering as we possibly can without crossing any other ethical boundaries. I disagree, but that's fine. Not with the suffering part, with the moral boundaries part, because it depends. Is it moral to kill a government official? I don't know. These are questions. Who the fuck said, who said that? Number 2, he states that proximity does not absolve you of any moral obligation. And number 3, Singer says it's good to give money to famine relief and it's wrong to not do so because you can. If you're watching this right now, you can, technically. So, with all that in mind, does Mr. Beast pass the ethical vibe check? The man sleeps in his studio. He holds no value in material possessions, unless of course it's to blow them up for 9-year-olds on the internet. And also me. And he holds proximity as no barrier. In fact, his charity has been doing work across the world for years now. On all accounts, he seems to be doing good. Unless of course you count charity content as an ethical barrier. Uh-oh. Now, I don't want to take Singer's word as gospel. He's not the only ethical philosopher, and he's got other opinions too. In the same paper, he argues that overpopulation is like a huge problem. I guess it's actually more of a passing mention, and also he does say rising at the present rate, and after looking into it further, the reason nowadays we aren't as worried is because most models of population growth don't predict an indefinite growth at this rate, so he was more valid in this concern at the time of writing. God, I fucking hate science. Which is fine. I've seen opinions for and against, and also this was the 70s, so this wasn't really something you'd like debate about back then. We had other, more important questions to figure out back then, like, should gays die? Are women people? God, I do so well in the 70s. However, to anyone who ever argues for population control, I would always ask the same question. How? How do you want to go about that? How do you decide which groups should reproduce less? Where's the logical conclusion of this argument? The ethics of charity content has been a hot button issue for a while now, and I personally believe a teenage girl is the right person to solve it. So, in my opinion, for the most part, Mr. Beast stays within ethical boundaries. Jimmy, have your PR team reach out and give me a fat fucking check for this. I'm doing God's work right now. The divine is speaking through me right now, and it's telling me to tell you that Mr. Beast is gonna save us. I brought 15 people into this circle, and the last one to install solar panels on their house gets fucking shot. I went to every city in the United States and paid people to give me their guns. I donated 500 pounds of breast milk to mothers whose teats can't produce. I think he occasionally crosses the line, like most influencers inevitably do, but for the most part, pretty good actually. The videos he produces for the communities they reach out to are more sit-down style interviews that are consented to and done by said community's leaders. I also think it might be an unintended positive of his content to show his, I presume, predominantly white, middle-class child audience the humanity of kids their age who don't have the same luxuries they do. Diversity wins. I hired an assassin to kill Elon Musk. However, to his critics, I will concede this does feel a bit dystopian. And it's not his fault this feels dystopian. He's a business genius, but also an idiot 25-year-old who never went to college. How long do I have to show these on camera for it to be a tax write-off? He's making content for kids and having fun with his friends. He's not concerned with politics and examining the underlying historical and ethical reasons as to why the communities he visits are impoverished. He's operating on pure, unadulterated utilitarianism. You can tell he's starting to learn in recent months, though. He's acknowledged that YouTubers shouldn't be the ones to do this work, but until our governments act appropriately, his content is picking up the slack. What if I just did all my videos like this? Not that there's really any hope for our government making the right decisions when it comes to foreign affairs. More on that shortly. So no, I don't think MrBeast falls into the standard trappings of exploitative charity content. I just think the whole situation is fucked. Scumbag Dad has been doing a really good job exposing the ethics of poverty content for a while.
You know, if someone lies to you because they want to get profit, it shouldn't be easily forgiven. Just because you like them or think they're funny does not mean they deserve your attention and your dollar. And your attention and dollar is very, very valuable.
But I just can't help myself in thinking that MrBeast is a little bit different. I'm a bit conflicted on the whole thing because I see where people are coming from. These extravagant displays of opulent materialism clash heavily with his other content of helping impoverished communities, which clashes heavily with his hanging with the boys persona, which clashes heavily with his evil game show host persona. Actually, let's talk about that last one for a second.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, massive MrBeast fan Joe Rogan. On October 7th, 2023, MrBeast released a crazy video called World's Most Dangerous Trap.
A video in which he participates in a series of bizarre murder attempts against this man right here. His name is Mac. Not Crit Mac though, remember? He's still in jail. In which every trap he survives, he wins an extra $100,000. But if he chooses to keep going and fails, he loses everything. Like most of his videos, Jimmy plays Puppet Master while dangling life-changing amounts of money over his victims' heads. A spectacle I would happily participate in if any one of his producers want to reach out to me here. In my opinion, this is the best video. The contestant Mac and Jimmy have a really solid bond, and it contributes to some genuinely funny moments within the content.
Is there a time limit? There's a touch the laser limit, and it's 1.
It's also evil. This video, like many of his do, garnered lots of reactions on twitter.com for a few key reasons. The first being, after sending Mac through the first 4 challenges, the 5th one for $500,000 consisted of, well, so much for digging wells in Africa. We are right back to hell. In my opinion, this is content gold. In the opinion of any human rights organizations, you know, it's fine though. He was fine. Everyone needs to calm down. Secondly, the trap for $700,000 consisted of Mac walking across a balance beam hundreds of feet in the air. And he was fine. Everybody was acting like he was gonna fall to his death on camera, but they're forgetting that he could have just cut that out. Not gonna show a guy dying, come on. And then finally, this video is notable because at the end, Mac loses. During the 8th trap, after having won $700,000, Mac failed and lost all his money. And in an act of sheer comedic genius, Jimmy forces him to stand up and fall properly through his trap door, because he's the GOAT. Many argued that this video is actually really messed up, because he dangled life-changing amounts of money in front of some guy's face and then took it away from him. All because he couldn't lick a cookie fast enough. Sounds like some Weinstein shit. What these critics didn't normally mention was that Mac is also a successful YouTuber himself. He's worked with many other popular creators before and even launched his own YouTube channel before this video. A fact I only know because I'm terminally online and I know everything. Gonna change soon. So what I'm trying to say is, MrBeast is good actually. But phone addiction and social media addiction at this point feel like one and the same. If short form content is unethical, why not long form too? Might not suck you in the same way, but it exists solely to keep your attention, and companies make more money from it too. So MrBeast is like the rest of us. He sold his soul, and that's fine. Sometimes you gotta do commerce. Numbers go up, then they go down. When they go up, I go yippee. And when they go down, I'm like, sorry son, college is not in the cards for you. The attention economy demands little of the mind, and MrBeast is a core example of that. I've of course talked about it before in this video, but his retention strategies are insane. He's actively throwing his audience down the well of fast-paced brain rot, and created the new meta of ADHD hypercuts and delivering dopamine at the speed of sound.
Keep everything brief, not to strain the attention of anyone, but instead to provide constant stimulation through variety, novelty, action, and movement. You are required to pay attention to no concept, no character, and no problem for more than a few seconds at a time.
This philosophy of constant movement can be found in every aspect of the content he creates. Except Jimmy didn't say that. Robert McNeil did in his essay, The Trouble with Television, as quoted by Neil Postman in 1985. This has always been the inevitable conclusion of the television and thus internet age. Constant optimization is not just a YouTube thing, it's a TV news thing. And they've been on this grind long before Jimmy ever even picked up a camera to make fun of me. And short form mimics it best. TikTok teens know how to hack your brain. Bite-sized is best. Complexities must be avoided. Nuances are dispensable. Qualifications impede the simple message. Visual stimulation is a substitute for thought, and verbal precision is an anachronism. These are the rules of the new medium. And also something Robert McNeil said about TV news. Are you paying attention? Do you get it yet? You probably knew that twist was coming. I suspect you don't think I know the word anachronism. And you're right. I'm just a girl. Give me a break. The news is just as much a tool for sedation as content, with the only added benefit being the news as a tool for engaging in serious issues. And of course, making sure the American populace only ever conforms to one of two major ideologies that we've deemed acceptable. Hashtag not all journalists, by the way. There's some people doing really great work out there, but there's others who are not, whose job it is to specifically and tactfully sow division within the American people. You know what I'm talking about. Recently, most TV news has hit a new low in covering the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. In the face of tragedy, when it finally had a chance to do some good, when we could have educated people on what's going on, talked with people on the ground living there every day, shared the PCRF where you could donate to aid civilians who'd never asked for this, or eulogized the over 25,000 victims of war. It instead divided us up and spread hate. Because of course it did. Because we don't have the fucking backbone to do anything else. We have American news broadcasters openly calling for more war. We have the Canadian Prime Minister desperately trying not to say the word ceasefire. And we have the American president doing absolutely nothing. I don't normally get overtly political, but when the Democrats have the audacity to ask me, and I assume many of you, for money, while simultaneously supporting one of the most horrifying atrocities I've seen in my lifetime, I think young people have a duty to say something. But yeah, I guess I'm the crazy blue-haired liberal for not wanting people to fucking die. TV news has spent the last 3 months desperately trying to convince everyone that this is normal, that this is just an unfortunate situation from 2 third parties and there's nothing we can do about it. Sometimes it feels like the whole world's lost it. Sometimes it's just easier to tune it out. The last couple months have had me thinking a lot about this picture. Because it's genuinely really funny. And also such an evil thing. What to do when the war criminal is funny. You can use social media to flip public opinion like that. Entertainment is an effective means to change your character from that of an uncaring asset of destruction to a lovable guy who's just so old. Look how old he is. He's like 150. He knows the meme. Come on. Thus, we slip further and further into this state where when the world looks bleak, why look up? You can always look right back down. It's always the easiest option. It's how they get you. Have you ever looked around a crowded room of people waiting for something and you just get to watch all of them collectively reach for a hit? It's really dystopian. And after everything, it feels like there's just not much else we can do about it. There's no collective action to take, nothing to fight for. Maybe there's no hope after all. Maybe this is just how we continue. Maybe this time we can't prevail over our vices.
Feeling your hands on my back, laughing and we're just some kids, holding my chest, it's okay, closing my heart off to strangers. It's something's holding me down, and I can't figure it out. Something's counting me out. Well, maybe you just need me now.
We always win in the end. Part 4, submitting to Zuckerberg, baby. At the end of the day, they always win, and you knew that. Did you really expect your feeble mind to prevail against the machine? Are you fucking stupid? Do you really think acquiring 1 billion users simply involves just, what, making a really good product and hoping people attach themselves to it for years to come via the power of what? Free will and innovation? That's ridiculous. They can hack your mind. I can hack your mind. That's why you're here right now. They always win in the end. Because at the end of the day, there is no ethics in content. Because content itself is unethical. This is what I like to call freedom. Profit from whatever the fuck you want. If people stumble into your content and they get mad at you, that's their fault. If you're simply going about your day, living your life, blue collar worker, real salt of the earth, soul of the nation, you're just doing your job, pranking the elderly, and someone comes up to you on your time and tells you that they don't like what you're doing, their problem isn't morality, it's minding their damn business. Content is good for you. Why else do you think we built the machine? Do you really think this is just some big ploy by billionaire tech CEOs to harvest your soul? Are you that self-serving enough to believe that your soul matters that much? Like we'd put in this much work to steal your soul? Your soul's not that great, okay? The machine is there simply to keep your mind at bay. It's called doing you a service. Have you noticed the world is so fucked up and evil? If you start to wake up and look around, all you're gonna feel is despair. This is why we have generously put mechanisms in place to properly sedate your mind to a place of total and utter ambivalence to the people and structures around you. You're welcome. The hard truth is, at the end of the day, you can't really make any meaningful change in the world, so all you can really do is sit around and wait for things to happen. And generously, we have systems in place to ensure that the waiting you must endure is maximally optimized so that the mind mustn't burden itself with injustice and inequality that it just simply has no control over. There's a great short on youtube.gov by a guy named Joey called The Fastest Way to Ruin Your Life. In it, he details not how to ruin your life, but rather how to maximize the comfort you should feel in your day-to-day. Tips such as closing your body language, as to detract evil from getting in your way, or wearing headphones non-stop all of the time. That way you're constantly engaged and informed and lessening the chance of the thoughts coming back. It's not self-help, as some have said. It's tips for guiding a life in the modern world. It's a tutorial on how to live a modern life. I distinctly remember very early on in high school confiding in one of my friends that I just couldn't take the silence of the modern world anymore. I was so depressed that the only way I could go about the world was to just always be constantly entrenched in the digital one. So I could continue to learn and grow without inhibiting myself and letting those thoughts come back and sit there and fester. Rather, I cast them away. I put my head down. I went to work. I didn't let my depression win because I focused on other things. I let the internet do the job it was specifically designed to do. And that's not a bit. That's what happened. And it worked. I'm genuinely no longer depressed. And obviously I made it out. The problem is not that the strategy doesn't work. The problem is that it does. And the harmful effects of phone addiction can easily be written off by the benefits of genuinely sedating the mind from its racing. We all know spending so much time on these mediums is bad. That's not a new take. But like any collective addiction, the apparently positive effects of the substance outweighs the harm it does. Especially when the harm is long-term, which humans are predisposed to not fully grasp. So you can either sit with this feeling, this awful pit of a feeling, or you can simply choose to feel better. This whole time, it's never been phone bad, phone bad. It's phone good. That's why we made it. Because it's good. It's so good. If it were bad, we wouldn't be using it. Like everything else in this world, if it didn't make you happy, you wouldn't use it. You're not chained to the thing. This isn't ethical analysis. Nothing is being done to you. You're choosing to be happy in a world that I've clearly displayed as a fucked up plane of existence. And I'm sorry if I'm not a huge fan of killing the vibe, but I generally think it's a good thing when people are happy. There's still time. We'll be okay. I mean that. When I first wrote that Patreon post in mid-December, ungodly shameless plug, I had no idea what I was in for. In the process of making this video, I felt genuine despair, and I've actually changed my life in significant ways because of it. I never used to share solutions in my videos because so many of them cover these grand topics where individual change feels like a laughable solution. And I feel like I've been talking about this general topic for like a couple years now. But finally, over the last month, I feel like I finally have some real knowledge to share. This is my culminating project, the one that I've set as my North Star. So here are the actual Mia Cole 7 rules for life. Except there's more like 5. Number 1, I started reading books. I did this for multiple reasons, the first of which just because it feels like a moral positive in this day and age to read a book, which I definitely needed at the time. Reading a book, especially nowadays, fills you with such a sense of accomplishment and completion, which sounds fucked up, but it's true. When you're fighting against the new medium, the old one starts to feel like a safe haven. Guys, books have a lot of cool stuff in them. You gotta check it out. I also did it because it's a really easy way to stimulate the mind without being on your phone. Hell, even listening to audiobooks has been pretty chill. This would have been a really good place to put an ad for insert audiobook company here, but I'm a free woman. I hear the library is cool. This is an ad for your local library. Go look at it. Number 2, I started taking dedicated time out of my day to be alone with my thoughts. And I don't mean like going on walks in nature or some bullshit. I'll admit, that's much more fun with music. But there's something about walking around a house just in complete silence and quiet and just listening to the things around you. That's really peaceful. Take a shower without music or unload the dishes without a podcast. Maybe you're normal, I don't know. It can actually go a really long way. Number 3, I started going to parties with my phone on like 15 to 20%. What? I'm not preaching morality here. You can still have fun. I do think it's really sinful to be on your phone in like small groups anyway. But sometimes when shit starts to get quiet or like there's a transition between activities, you might go for your phone and like reach for Twitter. So I found 15 to 20% to be like a good margin where you can still take photos, text people for plans, call a ride home, etc. I know it's kind of dangerous. Men can be scary, and unfortunately they're still bigger and stronger than me for now, unless it involves working out. I'm not doing that shit. So I don't fault you if you don't want to do that. Me personally, I find it exhilarating and fun. Number 4, make one new thing every day. It just makes me happy. Even if it's as simple as just writing like a page of script, you did something. You did something when you might have not done something, and that's good. That's progress. And number 5, knowing what matters most in life. I wrote in a note things that I think I need to have a fulfilled life. Some of them I have, some of them I can strive for. It's good to keep in mind like what's important. So yeah, you should be happy now. For real, that's what I did. I fixed myself. That's what I did to escape the machine, and now I'm gonna tell you how I stuck with it. Believe it or not, this video wasn't supposed to be an hour. I'm just like that now. Here's how I create routines that actually stick and keep me off my phone. 3 years ago, when I started getting into albums, I developed this like weird, intricate notes-taking system. Albums I've listened to, want to listen to, looking forward to, etc. And I realized that I've effortlessly stuck with it for years now. It just makes sense to me. So I applied that to my work. Have trouble keeping up with reading? Try making a note like this. My goal for this year was to read 15 pages every single day, and as you can see, I instantly failed. But instead of giving up, I realized my limit. I remembered that I work best in small bursts and adjusted my target to a much more reasonable 1 book per month minimum. New Year's resolutions do work, you just don't know how to bend the medium. I also did this for my creativity and still do it with my albums. I know you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at me, but up until this point, I actually hadn't listened to a Phoebe Bridgers album. Another thing is, I've been looking back on things that I'm proud of over the last year, and that's given me a lot more motivation to make new things. My favorite thing, for example, was a music video I directed, shot, and edited with one of my friends. I think it's beautiful and just goes to show that the best ideas are the ones that you do from 4 to 11 in the morning with your friend on zero planning or sleep in the hot Texas summer sun. Check it out after this video. It's good. I did it. I made it. When I make things, they're good. That's what I know. This entire video was inspired by one single share tweet from 2019. Me and my friends have been quoting this one tweet for the last like 3 months now because it's so true. Guys, you gotta shoot your phone. So what has all of this led to? Well, I'm happier, I'm more fulfilled, I'm slightly more insecure about the work I do, but that's fine, I don't gotta think about that. And I lowered my screen time for the first time across an entire week by half, and I'm still going. It's about the little things, okay? I wanna be clear, I'm not saying you have to delete social media or that there should be any regulation surrounding it. In the US, leaders have shown time and time again that they can't be trusted anywhere near tech CEOs.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation in Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two and a half years in Singapore.
Do you have any other passports from any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm Singaporean.
I never thought I'd say this, but leave TikTok alone. It's just racism. You're not helping anybody. We're not saving the kids by doing Asian hate. Don't let senators touch these platforms with a 10-foot pole. I care about your soul. They care about running for re-election. I don't want friends. I want to be right. I also don't even hate Mark Zuckerberg, despite the shade he got thrown in the cold open. I think he's just a little guy. What I am saying is being mindful of consumption is something that requires more than a passing thought. You can change your life for the better, and if that's something you want to do, you should do it. My mindset now is there is no leisure. When I open my computer, there's work, and there's numbing the mind after a long day of work. And if I play my cards right, the numbing might just give me more ideas for more work. But that's just me. The internet is obviously a very nuanced place. I don't want it to seem like I'm completely anti this medium. I'm obviously not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this.
I hear someone wrestling around over here. Good morning. Wrestle.
To see that sucker over there, 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds.
Don't come at me, okay? My bills are paid, my family's got food, and I ain't trying to impress nobody.
WrestleMania, us last night, literally getting freaky.
Face killer like my motherfucking house is.
The Rebecca Black song Friday is actually about the JFK assassination.
The internet itself is not bad. It's done a lot of good for a lot of people in a lot of different communities. One thing I've been thinking about constantly ever since I started making this video is actually how much good Instagram, and weirdly enough, Instagram Reels, has done for getting in more information out on what's going on in Palestine. There's journalists who document the horrors of what's going on the ground, and people sharing resources for how to help, and also where you can donate, such as the PCRF, which I highly recommend. You should pay attention to the news despite what postmen might say and do whatever you can to help. It's at least our duty to stay informed and at least help out whenever we can. The ethics of content is a tricky and tumultuous subject to cover. In our modern world, it feels so trivial to even debate over subjects such as these. Our phones control us, and the reality in which we live slips further and further out of sight every day. But hey, that's why we spend our time making beautiful things, right? What do Mr. Beast, H. Bomber Guy, Instagram Reels, and Joe Biden all have in common? That's right. They're all white guys. So content is a thing we all love. It's a great way to turn your brain off and embrace entertainment. But that's it. That's all it is. It's a sedative. And nobody ever said you can't do sedatives. But always keep in mind the fleeting nature of life. Do something good in the world. Fulfill your destiny. Find a way to be in a Mr. Beast video. But at the end of the day, Mr. Beast is just more entertainment to numb the mind. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm just more entertainment to numb the mind. But that's just the horrible churn of modern life, right? This interconnected reality we call modernity. I hope there's nothing more to say about that. This is our year. I feel it this time. I've never felt it more strongly than I do now. I hope you do too. I have so much more to do. Like, so much more. I guess that's it. Right?
Essentially, Mia doesn't serve the algorithm. Something about her content, the algorithm does not find valuable enough to give her a bigger audience. And that sucks. And it's frustrating.
So can I actually speak on that? Because, like, if you think of her a year and a bit ago, right, she would have done, sorry, it's slander, but she wouldn't disagree, right? She would have done anything to get more famous. She was trying all sorts of shit. She was doing all the algorithm stuff. She was thinking of ways to, what Mark, you know what I mean?
Bo Burnham videos, Scooby-Doo was an incel.
She could have, submitted to algorithm and done some identity politic, very outragey thing and rode a wave. But then what life are you living, right? Then she'd be dealing with the psychological stress you're dealing with as a grown man, as an 18-year-old girl, like that, like has never been outside.
I paid federal prosecutors to unseal the Epstein files. We deserve to know.